end time. In our problems tonight, they're going to be showing us the start time, and they're going to tell us how long an event lasted, otherwise known as the time. In the first example, we have Olivia, who needs to bake her cake for 45 minutes. Olivia put the cake in the oven at 8:10. So what time will the cake be done baking? Since this is a word problem, I need to circle my numbers. I see 45 minutes and 8:10. I'm going to underline my question. What time will the cake be done baking? And I'm going to box any keywords. In this instance, I know that I'm looking for a final time. I'm not looking to know how long something lasted. And it says that she put the cake in the oven at 8:10. So that's when her cake is beginning to cook. That must be our start time. I don't know when she takes it out. I don't know when it's going to be done. And that's the end time that I'm missing. Over here on my T chart, again, my start time is going to go at the top. And I don't know my end time just yet, so I'm going to have a question mark down at the bottom. But I do know that I have to add 45 minutes to my start time. I like to write how much time I'm adding above my hours and minutes column so that it's a reminder of how much time I need to add. I always tell my kids to only add 10 minutes at the most when they're finding a missing time. So I'm going to break up that 45 into 4 10s and 1 5. Since I'm adding minutes, I only need to look at the minute side of my start time. So 8:10 plus 10 minutes would make my new time 8:20. I haven't added 45 minutes yet, so I'm going to add another 10. 20 plus 10 would be 8:30. Another 10 would be 8:40. I've only added 30 minutes so far, so I'm going to add another 10 minutes. I'm now at 8:50. So I've added 40 minutes. Now I just need to add 5 minutes. So 50 plus 5 would be 8:55. And that's what time Olivia is going to take her cake out of the oven. Looking at this number line down below, the students will have to plot these times on a number line. So that beginning time is going to go at that second tick mark after the 8, because all those little tick marks are counting by 5-minute increments, just like a regular clock would. And then my end time of 8:55 would be 1 tick mark before 9 o'clock. In this example, we have Scott arriving at soccer practice at 4:45 p.m. He leaves 45 minutes later. So what time did he leave? Again, I need to circle my numbers. He arrived at 4:45 and left 45 minutes later. Underline my question, what time did he leave? And box any important keywords. So when he's arriving, his practice is just starting. That's going to be my start time, 4:45. I know how long his practice lasted or how long he was there, so I'm looking for when he left, which is when practice ended. So that's my end time that I'm trying to figure out. My start time goes at the top of my T-chart, and I don't have my end time, so nothing goes down at the bottom. But again, I'm adding 45 minutes. Add 10 minutes at the most in your T-chart. So I'm going to break that 45 up into 4 10s and a 5 again. So 4:45 plus 10 minutes would put me at 4:55. And this is my signal when I'm in the 50s. I tell my kiddos that that means that you are super close to the next hour. So to make it easier on themselves, I tell them to think about, well, how many more minutes would it be until that next hour? Since there's 60 minutes in an hour, sometimes it's helpful to think, well, 55 plus what is going to get you to 60? Think of it in terms of you're trying to get to 60 minutes. So I know that if I add 5 minutes to 55, I would get to 60. And some kids get caught up in just adding that minutes. and they write 4:60, but of course that's not a real time. And we need to think about what hour is going to come next after 4 o'clock. So at 4:55, when that hour is up, it's going to then be 5 o'clock. So I'm going to go back to adding 10 minutes now. So 5 o'clock plus 10 minutes would put me at 5:10. So far, I've only added 25 minutes, so I'm going to keep adding by tens. 5:10 plus 10 minutes would put me at 5:20. I've added 35 minutes so far, and I need to add 45, so I'm going to add another 10 minutes, and that would put me at 5:30. I'm going to double check 10, 15, 25, 35, 45. So I've added the minutes that I needed to from my problem. And again, I need to plot my points, but this time on my number line, the tick marks aren't counting by fives. There's only 3 tick marks in between each hour, so they're going up by 15-minute increments. So after 4 o'clock, it would be 4:15. This halfway mark is going to be 4:30. And then the next to last tick mark would be 4:45. So I'm going to plot 4:45. That was my start time. And then my end time was 5:30. So counting by 15-minute increments, this would be 5:15, and this would be 5:30.